Hello everybody. This time I'm flying the MiG-21bis on the ACG F-5E versus MiG-21 server. And yes, this time it really is the ACG server. Recently I've just picked up either the F5 or the MiG, depending on which side has fewer players. And I must say that both planes are an absolute delight to fly. Especially the MiG-21 model looks really good in VR. I find the MiG a bit more challenging to fly, and the visibility is not quite as good as with the F5. However, it has better armament and it feels better on vertical maneuvers. The analog feeling of the cockpit is interesting in terms of cognitive load, and I've tried to map my controls so that they would bring this aspect of the plane into the gameplay also. I managed to get a rather nice streak with the MiG, so I thought I'd share it with you. I've sped up the monotonous flying bit here, but as a general idea, as I started from Xonar and most action seems to be concentrating on the coast between Gudauta and Sukhumi, I thought I'd fly low parallel to the coast, hiding in the mountains, hoping that their AVAX wouldn't spot me. And at the same time on my way I query our AVAX for contacts, hoping to be able to flank them from the inland. I get regular updates from our AVAX, but the contacts are still quite far away. So meanwhile I'll just try to create a mental picture of where the enemy groups are. In the end I get information from the AVAX about a group that seems to be heading north on the coast and getting closer.
Первый, 110-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
I continue flying east-southeast, still harassing our AVAX for contacts. And as I get updates from the group's location, I finally arrive to the point where it's directly south from me to the coast.
Первый, 110-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
So I decide to go ahead and close in. And as all good plans, this one also works right up to the actual contact. I spot the first plane, and then another plane chasing it, and the twin smokes from its engines reveal it to be an F5, probably chasing a MiG. Unfortunately at this point I really overshoot badly, so I just need to pull up and try to make clear of the situation. And as I pull up, I unfortunately lose sight of both of the planes.
110-й. Первый. Обнаружена новая цель. 055. Удаление 1 на 500. Дистанция не меняется. 110-й. Первый.
Next I notice a smoking plane, and I'm convinced at this point that it must be the MiG that has taken some hits, as it was being chased by an F5. So I go after the other contact that I can see. And as I approach it, at the very last second I have noticed that it's actually a MiG. For some reason I can't get my head around it at this point, and I still think that it must be the MiG that is smoking, and that there is another MiG in the area. So I go after what looks like another dot. but in the end it actually proves just to be a reflection or shadow. After this brief confusion, I eventually come close to the smoking plane, and in the end there really is no doubt. It's a damaged F-5 heading home. Bit of a cheap kill, but I cut my throttle and do a barrel roll and get into a good firing position. First kill. As I climb away from the kill, someone locks me, so I pop a few flares. Luckily the radar lock soon breaks and I can climb to a safe altitude in peace. After that I spent several minutes chasing after contacts that pop in and out from the AVAX radar, without getting any visual or radar contact on anybody. Finally the AVAX reports a group 7 miles to the east from me, and I pick up 2 contacts on my radar. I managed to lock the first contact, and then I fumble through the switches and dials to select the radar missiles. Fox 1. And splash. That was actually my very first kill with the R3R missile. I also noticed his wingman trying to get into vertical maneuvers with me. I briefly lose him into the sun, but then as he turns off his afterburner, the smoke trail betrays him. I'm pretty confident that he can't beat me on the vertical. I briefly unload the stick to get more energy on my way down, which I then can hopefully use to get myself into good position. Again, I lose him into the sun, but I fire away anyway. I don't know if it's my bullets that scare him, or if he just decides to try and dive away from me. I feel that that was a bit of a mistake from his side, and he ends up paying for it. Third kill on this mission. Now I'm very low on fuel, and I have no other options but to land to Gudauta. At this point my general warning light is already blinking for fuel as I come to the landing. Bit of a wobbly landing. Well, at least I seem to be alive. The little elves of Gudauta are kind enough to give me fuel and a few extra missiles. The area seems to be relatively clear at this moment, so off I go again.
Первый, 111. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 111. Первый.
The same script continues again. Contacts popping in and out of the AVAX radar, and me chasing them around the coast and the mountains. and after a rather long chase, I finally find one contact.
110-й, первый. Обнаружена цель. 114. Удаление.
Earlier, when fumbling with the radar missile, I seem to have turned on my keyboard on bombing mode, and now I'm having a little bit of difficulties getting the first missile to track.
110-й, первый. Обнаружена новая цель. 118. Удаление. 1.
But luckily I still remain behind him and can finally fire a missile that properly tracks. And that's number 4. And again I spent several minutes chasing AVAX contacts with no luck, until I finally spot one reported contact on my radar.
110-й, первый. Обнаружена цель. 114. Удаление. 80. На 3000.
I have great difficulties locking him up, and after great frustration I seem to lose him altogether. As I frantically try to search him, he briefly pops up one last time on my radar.
101. Обнаружена цель. 124. Удаление. 80. На 3000. Дистанция не меняется. Первый. Цель рядом. 110. Первый. Обнаружена новая цель.
At this point, a furball starts to form on the area,
Удаление. 4. На 500. Дистанция не меняется.
and after a while I have a total breakdown in my SA, and I try to hang on top of that big furball, hoping to be able to dive down on some enemies. At one point I'm surprised to see an F-5 very close to me, and even more surprised that I'm still alive.
Дистанция не меняется.
As I lose sight of him, I dive down in a split S, hoping to be able to climb back up.
Первый. Обнаружена новая цель. 355. Удаление 20. На 500. Дистанция не меняется. Первый. 101. Как обстановка?
Despite of this close call, I still continue with the same tactics, trying to hang on top of the furball. On hindsight, I should have extended a few miles off from the furball and tried to get a better picture of the situation, hopefully picking up the F5s as they were busy fighting other people. But I stubbornly hang above the furball, letting myself get low on fuel and slow, and letting an F5 creep up on me. I still have a lot to learn. Thanks for watching, and see you on the servers.